There's a student right now, somewhere in the world, who just discovered something that will change their life forever. They're sitting in their room, surrounded by the same textbooks that used to fill them with dread, but something incredible has happened. Their brain has completely flipped its relationship with studying. The same mind that used to scream and protest every time they opened a book now actually craves learning. This isn't some fairy tale, and it's not about superhuman willpower. It's about a simple neurological hack that most people will never discover, but you're about to learn it in the next few minutes. By the time this ends, you'll understand exactly why your brain fights you when you try to study, and more importantly, you'll know how to make it work with you instead. Here's something nobody talks about, but it explains everything. Your brain has been sabotaging your study efforts since day one, and it's doing this for a very specific reason. Inside your skull lives the world's most sophisticated supercomputer, but it comes with ancient programming that's completely mismatched for modern life. This programming was designed thousands of years ago when humans needed to conserve energy for survival. Back then, wasting energy on unnecessary mental tasks could literally mean death. Your brain still operates under these prehistoric rules. Every time you sit down to study, your brain's alarm system activates. It floods your body with resistance, distraction, and an overwhelming urge to escape. This isn't laziness or lack of motivation. This is your brain trying to protect you from what it perceives as an energy-wasting threat. But here's where the story gets interesting. The most successful students in the world have accidentally discovered how to bypass this ancient programming. They've learned to speak their brain's language, and once you know this language, everything changes. The secret lies in understanding that your brain operates on a simple reward system. It needs to win small battles before it's willing to fight the war. This is where most people get it completely wrong. They declare war on their brain by making massive, intimidating commitments. I'm going to study for 4 hours straight and master 3 chapters. The moment your brain hears this, it goes into full defense mode. Red alerts start flashing, and every fiber of your being suddenly finds urgent reasons to do anything except study. The breakthrough comes when you completely flip this approach. Instead of making your brain climb Mount Everest, you ask it to step over a pebble. This technique has a scientific name, cognitive micro-commitments, but the concept is beautifully simple. You make the task so ridiculously small that your brain's resistance system doesn't even register it as work. Here's how this plays out in real life. Your brain-friendly approach sounds like this. I'm going to read exactly 1 paragraph from my history textbook. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Your brain processes this request and thinks, 1 paragraph. That's barely any energy at all. Sure, I can handle that without breaking the sweat. The magic happens the instant you complete that micro task. Your brain releases a chemical called dopamine, which is essentially your personal victory celebration in molecular form. This is the exact same chemical that gets released when you score a point in your favorite video game, when you get a text from someone you like, or when you bite into your favorite dessert. Your brain experiences that tiny study win as genuine success, and success feels incredible. The beautiful part is, your brain immediately starts craving more of that good feeling. It thinks, that felt amazing. Maybe I could read 1 more paragraph and feel that rush again. Before you realize what's happening, that single paragraph becomes a page. That page becomes a chapter section. That section becomes an hour of focused, engaged learning. You've essentially tricked your brain into studying by making it think it was its own idea. This isn't willpower or discipline. This is pure neuroscience working in your favor. And once you understand how to activate it, studying becomes almost addictive instead of repulsive. The second game-changing technique involves something psychologists call environmental programming. Your brain is constantly making associations between places, sounds, smells, and feelings. Right now, your mind probably associates your study space with stress, boredom, and resistance. The genius move is to deliberately reprogram these associations by pairing studying with things your brain already loves. Transform your study area into what I call a learning sanctuary. This isn't about expensive equipment or perfect lighting. This is about strategic sensory programming that hijacks your brain's pleasure centers. Use soft, Warm lighting that makes you feel cozy and relaxed. Play instrumental music that puts you in a peaceful, focused state. Keep a warm drink nearby that smells amazing and tastes comforting. Use pens, notebooks, or tools that genuinely spark joy when you interact with them. Surround yourself with colors and textures that make you feel good. This might sound trivial, but your brain operates through association. When you consistently pair studying with sensory experiences that already make you happy, your mind starts building new neural highways. The old pathway that connected studying to pain and resistance gets weaker, while the new pathway connecting studying to pleasure and comfort gets stronger with repetition. After a few weeks of this environmental programming, something incredible happens. Your brain starts anticipating good feelings when you head to your study space. Instead of dread, you feel excitement. Instead of resistance, you feel curiosity. This transformation happens automatically because you've rewired your brain's fundamental associations with learning. Now here's where we get really advanced, and this technique separates average students from academic superstars. You can borrow the exact psychological mechanisms that make social media and streaming services so addictive and apply them to your study routine. Netflix keeps you watching through something called intermittent reinforcement and the cliffhanger effect. Each episode ends at the most compelling possible moment, right when your brain is desperate to know what happens next. Clicking next episode doesn't feel like a decision, it feels automatic. The brilliant part is that you can engineer this same addictive cycle with your study sessions. Set a timer for exactly 20 minutes and commit to studying only during that window. When the timer goes off, stop immediately and take a 10-minute break to do whatever you want. Then, start another 20-minute session. This creates what psychologists call the Pomodoro effect, but the real magic is in the psychology of the interruption. You're often stopping right in the middle of understanding something fascinating or solving an interesting problem. Just like a Netflix cliffhanger, your brain becomes genuinely curious about what comes next. The break doesn't feel like a reward, it feels like an interruption you're eager to end. The most sophisticated technique that elite students use, without even realizing it, is called stealth learning, and this is where studying becomes completely invisible. Your brain's resistance system only activates when it recognizes formal studying happening. But learning can happen in dozens of ways that completely fly under your brain's radar. While eating your favorite meal, watch educational videos about your subject. Your mind is already flooded with good feelings from the delicious food, so it absorbs information without barriers. During your daily walk or workout, listen to podcasts or audiobooks related to your studies. The endorphins from physical activity keep you feeling great, while your brain soaks up knowledge effortlessly. Another stealth technique is explanation-based learning. Teach what you've learned to your pet, your younger sibling, or even your reflection in the mirror. When you explain concepts out loud, your brain is forced to organize and truly understand the material. But it feels like having an interesting conversation, rather than studying, so there's zero resistance. You can also gamify your learning by turning study material into stories, competitions, or puzzles. Math problems becomes detective cases to solve. Historical events becomes epic adventures to follow. Scientific concepts becomes mysteries to unravel. This approach leverages something called distributed practice, one of the most powerful learning techniques ever discovered by cognitive science. When you encounter information multiple times throughout your day, in different enjoyable contexts, your brain starts flagging that information as critically important. It's like hearing the same song on 3 different radio stations during your commute. By the third exposure, you know all the lyrics, without any conscious effort to memorize them. The neurological reason these techniques work so effectively comes down to how your brain prioritizes and processes information. Your mind is constantly scanning for patterns that indicate importance, enjoyment, and easy wins. When you make learning feel effortless, pleasant, and successful, your brain stops categorizing it as a threat and starts seeing it as an opportunity. The ancient resistance programming gets overridden by newer, stronger patterns that associate studying with positive outcomes and good feelings. Here's your implementation strategy to activate these brain hacking techniques starting tomorrow. Choose one method that resonates most strongly with you and commit to testing it for exactly 1 week. Maybe start with the micro-commitment approach and pledge to read just 2 paragraphs of your most challenging subject every day, or focus on creating your learning sanctuary with all the sensory elements that make you feel genuinely happy and relaxed. Or experiment with stealth learning by incorporating educational content into activities you already enjoy. The crucial element is consistency over intensity. You're rewiring decades of neural programming, and that takes repetition, not force. Your brain needs to experience the new positive patterns multiple times before they become automatic. But once this rewiring takes hold, the transformation is permanent and profound. You'll find yourself actually looking forward to study sessions. Learning becomes something you crave rather than something you avoid. The students who discover these techniques early gain an enormous advantage because they've learned how to make their most powerful tool, their brain, work for them instead of against them. The difference between struggling students and academic superstars isn't intelligence or natural talent. It's knowing how to communicate with their brain in a language it understands and responds to positively.